Well, howdy, everybody. Today is Saturday, July the 10th. It is 8:30 a.m. We are at the Coppell Arts Center. This is the Coppell City Council. We are reconvening into work session. This morning, we've got a fairly lengthy agenda with one item. First off, I'd like to call for citizens' appearance. Do we have any citizens that are wishing to speak this morning? We have no citizens, so we'll move on to the next item. I got a couple of items to talk about before we get started. And we're gonna meet Marcel in a bit, but Marcel Brunell is with the Brunell Associates. We've all talked to him and taken an assessment. We're gonna be going through that this morning in detail. But before we do that, I wanted to remind everybody about our house rules, our code of conduct. I trust that everybody has a copy of this. So just going through those, I wanted to read those through. These are a guideline. Again, they're not published. They are published, but they're not formal rules. They're subject to change. If you have a comment about any of them, we can certainly discuss them. There's about 10 of them, so bear with me. We agree that we'll treat each other with respect. That includes the council, our co-council members, staff, and our citizens. We'll start with trust. What you see, don't suspect motives or agendas. Be open and direct in your communications. No hidden agendas or personal comments to others. We're going to agree to disagree. There's no way that all 8 of us are ever going to agree on everything all the time. So there will be disagreements. That's fine. That's healthy. But we will come away with a consensus opinion that as a council, we will support. We won't threaten. We won't shame others, and we won't engage in personal attacks, nor will we allow others to engage in personal attacks. We heard that yesterday. We'll listen to others. We'll try to understand before judging or deciding, and we won't interrupt. We'll speak to the topic. We'll focus on the issue. We'll be precise. We won't grandstand. We have some other discussion topics that we'll go over in a bit, but we also have agreed that the mayor has the right to redirect discussion if we get off track. We'll speak to the focus. We'll speak to the topic. We'll focus on the topic. We'll be precise, and we'll stay on point. Ask your questions and accept the answer. Like we talked about yesterday, sometimes the answer may not be what you want to hear, but it is the answer. Accept it and move on. Decide on the issue. Is it best for Coppell? Remember, we're here for the long term of Coppell. We're not here for the short term. It's very easy to provide that governance that we talked about last night if you're only looking at today and tomorrow. It's much more difficult and a lot more valuable to the citizens of Coppell when we take the long-term interest of the city at heart. This isn't personal. It's about the city. Let's vote. Let's move on. Respect and support the vote of the majority. This is one of the hard things. You may not be in agreement with the majority vote, but you have to support it. You don't have to come out and be an advocate for it, but it is also not appropriate for you to badmouth the decisions that you don't agree with. And lastly, be responsible for all of our behaviors, including your own. Control yourself and follow the house rules. So I'll put these up. These have worked for us quite well over the last 20 years as a council. And we've changed them somewhat from time to time. And I'm willing to entertain suggestions on those, but come forward with open discussion and we can always discuss it. Anybody have any questions? All right. We've also got some council discussion expectations. These are even a less of a guideline. Does everybody have a copy of those? Okay. I'm not going to read through all of these, but please take a chance to look through them. These are set up so that we can engage in work sessions so that we have open and honest discussions. We have, an open agenda. We understand what we're trying to achieve. it gives us an idea, a framework, a guideline to have those discussions openly. We'll understand what a quorum is, understand what a majority or consensus decision is. There's also some guidelines on email usage. You know, we haven't had a problem with it, but when Mike or you get a tidbit or you get an email from me, be very careful about responding to all. That's when you get into that walking quorum. We've talked about that a little bit, but be very careful about if you have a response, it's better to send it back to myself personally or to Mike or to the person that you're actually talking to, not the entire council. We will strive to start on time, and obviously we don't necessarily have firm ending times, but it'll be my job to keep the meeting focused and excuse me, and in order so that we maximize our time and not to waste our time collectively. Please ask questions, but make sure that there's some guidelines on what appropriate questions are. We need to have the opportunity for everybody to speak. That's my responsibility to make sure that you get to speak, that you get the information that you need, that our citizens get to speak, and our staff presents the appropriate information. Then there's a procedural item that our city attorney has brought forth, and it gets into when we have a motion or an item that we want to decline, it's better to make the motion in the affirmative and then vote against it. Now that sounds kind of funny, but it puts the person in for example, if we have an agenda item X and Brianna is adamantly opposed to it, as is by consensus the rest of the council, it's better for her to make the motion to approve it, even though she doesn't agree with it, and then vote against her own motion. That way, from a recording standpoint, it's very clear that the motion failed. If you make the motion to fail the item, then you have to vote in favor of it. So it gets really confusing. So it's much easier and cleaner to make the motion to pass it in the affirmative and then to vote against it. I'm sorry, it gets really weird, and it's weird feeling to make a motion that you don't agree with. Everybody understand that? Okay. That's true. No, you don't have to, but it's just better, even if you disagree. The point is, even if you disagree with the item and are going to vote against it, it's better for you or someone to make the motion in the affirmative. Yes, that's correct. And then item L is I'm going to take this one. I want everyone to think about, council generated agenda items pertaining to our work session. Okay. Mike put that in our SharePoint this morning, and take a look at that. We'll have a work session pertaining to that later on. I'm not expecting to go into the debate about that today, but I do want to have a discussion on that one at some point in the future. All right. Sorry for all the administrative stuff. I know it's not fun. Brianna is asking how an abstention works under our home rule charter. If you abstain from a vote, then you are voting with the majority opinion. So it does not come down as a non-vote. Your vote is cast in with the majority opinion, whichever way the majority opinion goes. What's that? That I had a discussion with Bob Hager.
Right, it's just considered
We'll pull up the charter.
Yeah.
You said the charter or the state statute?
It's charter.
Charter.
You mentioned state statute.
No, charter.
He started to.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I started to say.
Just real quickly too, I also dropped the draft of a social media policy in your SharePoint file as well. Yeah.
Just a quick pointer. The microphones.
You have to remember to turn your mics on.
Oh, to turn your mic on. Yep. Okay. Thank you. Yep. Because I think I was talking. I didn't. Thank you. Yep.
John, thank you very much. I stand corrected. You are correct. An abstention counts as an affirmative vote by our charter.
Oh. Okay.
It's recorded as an affirmative vote.
Affirmative vote if that's the majority.
Nope.
Regardless.
Regardless.
Okay.
I don't know if that was.
Because Bob Hager told us otherwise. That's why.
Yes, he did.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. I didn't think I was going crazy.
I was in that conversation with you. Yep. That's why I wanted clarification.
And it said unless there's extenuating circumstances, which I don't. Okay. We got a few other little housekeeping items that will come up during the morning, but I liked it.
One more thing. So if you recall, second floor conference room, I don't know if y'all noticed, the cameras are up in the two corners so that we can stream the meeting. I don't know how to describe it. In the conference room the other night, this camera on the east side was the only working camera. The west side camera is still having some issues. So just know that when we're in the second floor conference room, per y'all's request, those meetings are being streamed online. Okay? There's two cameras in either corner.
One facing the other.
Yes. Okay. So John, myself, and Cliff, for example, so you got to see my bald head. Didn't get to see my face. But anyway, I don't know how much longer it'll be before we get the rest of the equipment, but just know if you meet up there, the meeting is streamed.
All right. I'd like to introduce Marcel Brunell. Marcel is with the Brunell Group out of Farmers Branch. Correct?
Correct.
And he is he's worked with this and previous councils on several occasions. He is a facilitator. He is here today to talk to us about teamwork and working as a team. Keep in mind that Marcel is a part of the team. He is always available to us to bounce ideas off or have him help you out with issues that you may have come up, making decisions and so forth. And without any further ado, Ado. What did I say?
No, you did. I just think ado.
Ado. There's someone in the peanut gallery down here. Thank you, Marcel. The floor is yours.
Thank you. And so for those of you who I just met, John, good morning. Last night, Mike went over council discussion expectations. And if you remember, number C was recognition of personal style differences. And the first time I met my wife's parents 27 years ago, I learned their behaviors. And when we left for the first time, when we were dating, I said, "Oh my gosh, your dad doesn't like me. He didn't talk to me at all." And she goes, "Oh, no. That's just his style. That's his style." Well, I thought that was his behavior. So today, gang, we're talking about behaviors. And if I do it over and over and over, that's when it becomes your style. Today is about behaviors. Number 2, framework to change individual and group behaviors. Well, that's a big word there because now it all comes down to 2 words, want to. People love change. People typically don't like being changed. And so today is around the idea of self-awareness. And if you look up here, there's 3 words, people. We're all humans, and the best we're ever going to be is human. It's the best we're going to be. So I'm not looking for perfection in your assessments. There's no perfection. I'm just looking for what? An opportunity for some progress. That's it. And if you decide it's smart, if you decide it's right, then that might be something that you focus on. Nothing has meaning until you give it meaning. That's it. And maybe somebody's told you this before and you go, oh my gosh, now it's sitting right in front of me. See this birthmark? This birthmark is part of me. It's not all of me. I don't notice this birthmark in the mirror when people say, well, you need to look in the mirror. Okay, well, I don't notice I'm bald in the mirror. I don't notice I have a birthmark in the mirror. When somebody holds up a picture of me with my family, or when I'm bent over and I'm like, dang, I'm bald. Or wow, that's a birthmark. When my kids would draw pictures of me in grade school, they wouldn't put the birthmark on me because I was the only dad that had a birthmark. And I would be able to say, on the wall, there's me. So my son would hold his red crayon until the very end and say, which one are you? And then he'd put the birthmark on me. So gang, this assessment is not about what it says about you. No. This assessment is what you told it. Fair game? It's what you told it. And so when you sit there and go, that's not me, that's not me. Delay your judgment. Suspend your disbelief. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Look at the second word, pressure. I was just in San Marcos yesterday working with 114 police chiefs from all over Texas. And they're feeling pressure. Pressure to do 3 things just like this council. Make decisions under pressure. Solve problems under pressure. Build relationships under pressure. We all got here on different boats, but now we're on the same ship and we have to what? Collaborate. And there's some people, they maybe have not had that experience of collaborating. What's the middle word of collaborate? Labor. And you're going to bump into some people who don't want to labor in that relationship. Okay? And that's okay. Their truth and your truth gets to coexist. Look at the last one. Personality. I have 3 different children, all from the same parents, same oxygen, same broccoli, same environment. And they're 3 totally different personalities. So there's no way you're going to elect certain people from a city and they all come in and what? We all work together. No, it's not that. That's not the way it works. I have a family of 5 and just trying to decide where to go to dinner, everybody has a different what? Approach, different perception. So those are the 3 things we're going to talk about today. People, personalities, under pressure. And this assessment measures you 3 different ways: at home, at work, and when you're stressed. And between those 3 different personas, we start to see these things called blind spots. And so here's my goal today. Most of the times when you go to a course on leadership or team management, it's always telling you what to do. I don't do that because you know what to do. And you're not going to do it until you what? Until you want to. Here's the way I see it. Every single thing we're going to talk about, gang, is inside of me, the invisible. The invisible inside me creates me as a father, me as a son, me as a brother, me as a husband, me as a council member. And so I'm going to be referring to other councils that I work with and some of the challenges that they have. Okay? You may be all good to go. You've already put your 40 hours in by Tuesday night and we have a council meeting and somebody on the dais says something and you're triggered. They say something and now you're like, oh my gosh, I gotta fix this. And so now you're what? You're disrupted. And we're going to talk a look and see what you're like when you do too much on the dais. I can be too demonstrative and I come across as what? Overbearing. That's why it's good for Marcel to sit on a Saturday. Just to kind of let people get used to the energy. You know? So I'm never going to tell you what to do. I'm just not. It's not my job. You know you, and we don't know you until we look. This has got the best brain research, and this has got the best algorithms, and there's some things in here that have never been measured in you, ever. And so that's the neat part. The individually looking at it, it's good. It's good. You would have fixed these things already. It's being able to look at this new collective team. That's where the value comes in. So I was able to take everybody's assessment, put together some names, and associate them with what are your defaults. And so here's my intention, because some of you don't know who I am. And I've got 5. Number 1, gang, this is not about judgment. Judgment comes from a place of fear, like people see my statistics, my data. All data is a story with a soul. That's all data is. It's your story, it's your soul. You own it. So I'm looking at it through the words of evaluation. That comes from a place of compassion. Let's evaluate this situation. Fair game? No judgment. No judgment. Number 2, I'm going to tell you some things, but I'm never going to tell you what to do. I'm going to tell you some things to think about, maybe to tune some things up, or maybe to tune some things down at home, at work, and when you're stressed. And then number 3, gang, stay curious. There's nothing in this assessment that's 100% certain. There's no way an algorithm is going to get John June at 100%. It's just never going to do it. So there might be some things in here you go, I'm not sure. Okay, well then maybe you share it with somebody else that might give you another perception. So stay curious. The whole goal today is for us to understand ourselves individually, but to discover what we could be like if this data was right. What would the world be like if this data was right and we acted upon this data? Our blind spots that could be causing blind behaviors. And then last but not least, gang, I got nothing to prove. The only 2 things I've got in my pocket, this one right here, it's my sobriety chip from Alcoholics Anonymous. That's the first thing that's in my pocket. And the second thing that's in my pocket is the Serenity Prayer, to remind me to control things that only I can control. Nothing to prove. My only goal this morning is to provide an environment right here for people to do 2 things. Think differently. Speak freely. Fair game? That's all my intentions are. So no judgment. And here's the other thing too. Who you are, who Cliff is, that's safe. I'll never go after who Cliff is. I'll never go, Cliff, you need to change. I'll never do that. Cliff is like, no. But what you do on the council, okay, so now that's a little bit of safety, but I'm also going to provide a little bit of discomfort. Safety and discomfort are both necessary. And when you are in martial arts, it's safety, but it's also a little bit what? A little discomfort. I'm going to have to maybe ask you to stretch a little bit, do a little bit different, trust in this motion. The right mindset. What's the mindset this morning? I'm here to do one thing, and that's look in and look up. I'm not here to look at other people going, I knew it. I knew that about Mike. Nope, it's not the mindset. It's not the mindset. The mindset is here and up. And every dojo that you'll see in the United States, it says, be soft to be strong, be vulnerable to be powerful. And it's amazing, but the more vulnerable you are, the more powerful you become. And so that's the environment today. Keep your window cracked. Some people, they don't like assessments. They're like, it's nasty in here. Let's just kind of leave it alone. We don't have to go and look. And they just roll their windows up because they don't want to know. And that's okay too. And then last but not least, keep your lights on. There might be some things in here that might be some bright spots that you're doing called your strengths. And then we'll get after that. Here's my goal. We know last night, you may not have been aware of some of the things. And now you are aware. You just what? You just notice things differently. The more awareness I have about something, the more it kind of influences my perception, the way I see something. The way you see something affects your attitude. And that's the way you think, feel, and value, which ultimately affects your behavior. And that's the way you treat a council member. First question of the day. Can you change somebody's attitude without changing their behavior? Can you change somebody's attitude without changing? Yes, you can. 17-year-old daughter. Hey, texting and driving is bad. right? And she goes, yeah, it's really bad. We shouldn't text and drive. You still going to do it? Oh, yeah, absolutely. Oh, my God, yeah, absolutely still going to do it. But I know it's bad. This whole thing today is about regard and treat. To the degree I regard my council member, to the degree I regard staff, is to the degree I'm going to treat them. To the degree. And there are some people who will have a cell phone in front of them at lunch, and they'll look at it while the other person's talking. To the degree I regard this conversation is to the degree I treat it. Is it wrong? I don't know. It's totally up to you. You can behave however you want as long as you're cool with the consequences. No one's going to tell you how to behave. The only goal today is what? Awareness. And there's only three things you can kind of be mindful of, and one of them is you can't change people's behaviors. The only thing you can influence is the way they see. How does one see? Right? So some council members that I work with, there's one council, the city of Modesto. This is 2 councils ago, so I can tell you they're not there anymore. But boy, they saw, there was one council member who saw the council as the next step to becoming a higher official within the state of California. There's some council members who see, man, I'm only here for my constituents. I need to get the creek fixed, and I need to get this sidewalk built. You guys manage yourself. Some council members go in and come in, you know what? We are not here to be at 4 feet. We're here to be at 400 feet. We have to make decisions collectively, not individually. How does one see? How does one see? How does one see council members who are now together who maybe what? Campaign for my competitor. And now I'm here. How does one see that? What's going on? Don't you like me? But now we're on the same team. So there's some council members that come in and they're like, well, I noticed that you backed my other guy. Good thing I won. This is going to be an amazing experience. So we have to be mindful of that. How does one see? When you look at some council members, they see their need to be very nitty-gritty. They see their need to ask a lot of questions. Some council members, when they work with the staff, they dress down the staff. To the degree I regard you is to the degree I treat you. So be mindful. Would you take that for me, please? Would you read that out loud for me? Yeah. That's it. That's all we're doing today. And if you want to pay attention to them as a dad, as a son, as a brother, as a husband, then you can. Some people take this back to their desk in their office and they put it between big books and it sits perfectly and it's called credenzaware and we never touch it again. And that's okay too. That's all right too. It's like, okay, it's 12 o'clock, it's lunch, let's go. What are you going to do with this? Nothing. And that's fine too. Way cool too. So here's our path today. Today, gang, I'm looking for this term, intellectual humility. I feel sometimes men, mostly men, 10 years older than me, feel that just because they're 65 means they're mature. Just because you're 65 doesn't mean you're mature. And just because I have 13 kids, I don't, and you only have 3 kids doesn't mean I'm a better parent. This whole thing is called intellectual humility. That just means what? I may not know everything about myself. Now, here's the deal. The more intellectual humility I have, the more I can have in cultural humility, which means I may not know everything about everybody. I don't have to fix everybody. I'm not here to fix you. You fix yourselves. But lots of people, when you hear the term, hey, should we take Civil War statues down? Should we kneel at the anthem? The ability to have that cultural humility now kicks in, which means what? I have self-awareness. That allows me to have some others' awareness, which gives me this idea of showing up to the council, showing up on the dais, and being able to provide some psychological safety. Somebody just raise your hand and tell me what that term means. Raise your hand if you know the answer to psychological safety. Anybody know what the definition is? Mm. Mm. Yeah. This assessment will let you see maybe some of the things that are getting in your way of providing psychological safety for a council member to not just feel like they fit in, but to feel like they belong. I've got 3 children. I want my 3 children to belong. I want them to feel equity, and I want them to feel included. And it's my spouse and I's responsibility to create that psychological safety. We don't get psychological safety if we don't have this, if we don't have this, and we don't have this. And what is psychological safety asking for? This idea of equity as a council, belonging as a council. We've got new council members. Do they fit in, or are we going to allow them to belong? Well, you just belong. You fit in. Nope, it's that way. And so what I'm looking for today is that thing way down there. And we're going to start today way up here. Fair game? That's what we're looking for. That's the end result. Well, what was today about? It was about taking a bunch of people who are under pressure with different personalities to work together. What are the 3 biggest problems of people working together? People working together. Nice job. We're going to go to noon. We'll take breaks at 9:30. 9:30, John, would you remind me? Would you just do this? Would you give me one of these? And we'll take 10. We'll take a break at 9:30. 10:30. We'll just take 2. You guys cool if we just take 2? Just take 2 breaks. Okay? And then John will be in charge of that. We're going to get into this right now. I mean, just give me a couple more minutes here. I want to make sure we're all clear on the expectations, but we're going to go very deep into your ADW assessment, and then we're going to be able to look at what other people's data looks like. Not compared, no, to let you see where you sit relative to the team, on the needs and the values that you have based on what we learned. Here's what might hurt us. So I need you in teams of 2. So if you would please join us right here, that'd be awesome. And if you would work with John, that'd be great. If the 2 of you could be a pair, the 2 of you could be a pair, the 2 of you could be a pair, and me and Cliff. Oh, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. Here's the first thing I want you to do, just to kind of level set. You okay? Oh my gosh, you okay? You want a different chair? Yeah. Yes? Yeah, come on. You get over here, Vicky. Absolutely. Okay. Here's the first thing I want to level set. So the 2 of you get together, 2 of you, 2 of you, 2. Everybody has, you have one mission. One mission, answer 2 questions. Cliff, would you read this out loud for me, please, sir? In your teams of 2, I need you to answer 2 questions for me between the 2 of you. The first question I have, and I'll give you 30 seconds. All I want to know is, what did these 4 words mean? Contempt, prior to investigation. I just want to know what it means. And number 2, I want an example. I want an example of what contempt prior to investigation means, just from your perspective. 30 seconds to tell me what it means, 30 seconds to give me an example. I'll see you in 1 minute, and I'll just pick a team, and you can tell me what you talk through. Take it away. Contempt prior to investigation. What does it mean? We cracked the code. You got about 15 seconds. Okay. Come on back if you would. Yeah. What did you guys come up with? What does it mean? What does contempt prior to investigation mean? Mm. Mm. Love it. What did you guys come up with as an example? As an example.
He's not paying any attention. He has to. He has to turn my mic on for me because I can't ever remember.
You look
now
great.
He's sitting down here
Cliff,
not paying any attention.
You're fine. You're fine.
Yeah,
What
that's
does it mean?
contemptuous behavior. We talk about religious, coming from a religious point of view. In general, you have certain things that if someone violates that, the possibility of contempt for them because of doing that.
It's on. It's on.
Is this better? Okay, yes. Okay. Thank you very much.
Round
You
two.
get that
Take it away.
down so we.
Go ahead. Say it one more time. Please.
Okay. As far as our situation is concerned, the event is we just selected religion. So some people are very, very strong in their religious beliefs, and if you don't believe what I believe, then I've got no use for you. It's a contemptuous thing. And and so that's sort of our. So it was sort of our example that we came up with. Got it?
What does it mean? Yeah, contempt. Contempt prior to investigation.
You want to take it? Go ahead.
So what we talked about was basically like you've already made up your mind about something, and like you're gonna just hold firm there. You're not gonna listen to outside information or have that investigation that says right there. It's like I'm set in stone. This is what I believe. I'm holding fast here.
Absolutely. Give me an example. You're so collaborative. Both of you. You go ahead. No, you go ahead. You're fine.
Yes, there we go. Thank you. Our example, and it was really kind of based on our definition, which was about judging based on just my first impression without actually taking the time to know you as a person or understand you. And so something as simple as political affiliation. I know you're in this party or that party, and then I make a decision about your trustworthiness and your motives and what you believe before I even know you, just based on that one piece of information.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Would you read the next thing for me, please?
Sure. The illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn.
Today's goal, unlearn. I'm going to ask you to write 5 things down during our time between now and 12 o'clock. 5. That's it. Just 5 things. If you want to. Maybe somebody didn't bring a pen. I'm cool with that too. Here's the first thing I want you to write on the back, in the back of your assessment. On the last page, you can take notes. On the very last page, you can take notes. The very last page, you can take notes. Here's what I want you to write down. The unaware leader is the most dangerous. The unaware leader is the most dangerous. Bar none. That's number one thing I want you to write down. The unaware leader is the most dangerous. Here you go. I got you. The unaware leader is the most dangerous. So when I work with leaders that are unaware of how they make decisions, unaware of how they problem solve, or unaware of how they build relationships, they are dangerous. Number two thing, while we're writing them down, number two, it's hard to be open-minded when we hold on to old ideas. Number two, it's hard to be open-minded when we hold on to what? Old ideas. And that's the unlearning part, gang. We have to unlearn some things today that maybe things that we thought were smart and right to do, probably not so smart and right. Like there are some men who believe it's strength to never apologize. There are some men who believe it's strength to show the idea of perfection. That's something we have to maybe unlearn. Yes. No worries, that's my fault. It's hard to be open-minded when we hold on to old ideas. Absolutely, absolutely. So the goal today is to maybe unlearn a couple things. The unaware leader is the most dangerous. My 25-year-old, just got married. And they're unaware of what it's like to rent a house. They thought all the bills were included. They're unaware. And when you're 25 and you're newly married, you're unaware. And they go, whoa, everything's included. The electricity, the water, and you go, see, that would be a misperception. And you don't know you have a misperception until somebody tells you, right? So today is about maybe unlearning a couple things. Here's another thing that might get in our way. Pride. Number three thing I want you to write down. Longevity does not equal competency. Just because you've been doing your job for a long time doesn't mean you're good. Just because you've been on councils numerous times doesn't mean you're effective. Longevity never equals competency. And when people feel, well, I've been doing this for a while, they have a sense of pride. And pride is good. I'm in Texas. Texas pride is good. I smoke briskets all the time, and I take great pride in my briskets. This is when you stop learning them. This is when you feel that you kind of know what's going on. Here's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the rethinking cycle, not the overconfidence cycle. My brother's an attorney. He graduated number 1 from high school, number 2 from Georgetown. He went to UT Law and graduated number 6 from UT Law. He's an intellectual property attorney. He probably makes about $4 million a year. From his backyard, you can see Michael Dell's house. He uses big words like bifurcate and juxtapose and precipice. And that means don't sit next to me. And when he was on a board, Marcel Brunell, 4 years older than me, was asked to maybe not be on the board anymore because Andre felt the need to dot every I in the contract and every T in the contract. And he kept the whole board at 4 feet. And they're like, no, Andre, move your head up. He said, no, I'm an intellectual property attorney. This is what I do. He's no longer on that board. Do I still love my brother Andre? Yes. So sometimes, gang, we need to step into this role of rethinking that maybe when I'm on the dais, we have the city attorney take care of those things. Yeah. It's okay to doubt. It's okay to stay curious, and it's okay to stay in discovery mode. Ask more questions. My only request is have your question have some substance to it. Don't just ask questions to hear yourself talk. It wastes everybody's time. Fair game? Yeah. Number 4. So, number 4 is remain teachable to remain humble. What's the number one way to remain humble in this world? Remain teachable. Teachable about yourself, teachable about others. Yeah. And if I sat in a cave for 6 years, it doesn't mean that I'm a geologist. Again, gang, longevity never equals competency. It never, ever does. And here's what I want you to read. If you would you please take that right there for me, Vic? different song. It's a different team. And if you think you can come in here and playing it to what? Your song and not the team song, well, then guess what? There might be a little bit of a disruption. The rhythm has changed. And so much. And just because I step on your toes doesn't mean we have to stop dancing. Tell that to my wife. She's looking for perfection in the two-step. Hell, I don't do that. Number 2, would you play Take It for me?
It's not your job to detox toxic people. It's your job to detox the part of you that resonates with other people's toxicity.
Big word.
Yeah.
On a Saturday morning. Somebody tell me what that means. Is that true? Is that true? It's not your job to detox toxic people. Fix them. You need to change. Hey, is that our job? Or is it our job to maybe find out what am I so fussed about when Marcel does that? What pulls me off sides? Maybe I need to look inside and fix that versus what? Try to go out and fix the toxicity of other people. And gang, I've been doing this now for about 29 years, and that's our number one thing that we love to do. Humans love to go and what? Fix. Hey, how about fixing yourself? Oh, I'm good. No, I'm good. Good. I've been doing this for 54 years. I know me. What do you want to do? I want to go fix other people. That's what I'm good at. And then what happens then? I don't have to change. That's the best part about it. When you ask people, how you doing? The number one way to never change for the rest of your life is do this. Doing good. It's the best answer. Why? Because everything's perfect with you. You don't ever have to change. But gang, that's not our job. And I want to be very clear on that. Because sometimes when new council members come together, they start to sit back and go, boy, if they would just do this, the whole place would be amazing. Okay, well, stop doing that first. That's not our role. So today, we're going to measure your self-confidence, your hospitality, your attention to detail, your emotional absorption. We're going to measure your values, ambition, your competes with others, your concern for others, your impulsivity. And guess what, gang? I'm going to measure 40 aspects of your personality. Some of them have never been measured before. Many of you have taken a Myers-Briggs, 1943. It was built by a mother for her daughter to vet her daughter's suitors. 1943. We still use that technology today. In 2021, I got a daughter. Don't box my daughter. There's a Myers-Briggs, and then there's a DISC assessment. 1956. Anybody ever taken DISC? D-I-S-C? Yeah, of course. Yeah. High D, high I. You come running back to the city of Coppell. Oh, my God, I'm a high D. And Mike goes, we're looking for high S's in leadership. Sucks to be you. So now you've typed my kids. Who does that? Who uses 1956 technology? Why do we do that? Well, 1, because it's cheap, and 2, because it's easy. And we do what now? Now we're going to type you. You're a high D. That's amazing. What do I do with that? So we got to maybe go deeper. And here's what I want to do. I want to do everything based on the Big Five, not Carl Jung from the 1800s, Myers-Briggs and DISC. Every academic background says this is where we're headed. I want to measure your self-concepts. I want to look at everybody's team. There's some people in the room, they love self-reflection. Yeah, I should do that better. There's some people in the room, like Marcel, I have no need for self-reflection. I'm good. We're going to measure your psychological values. There's some people in the room have a high need for information. There's some people in the room like Marcel, I have no need for information. If you send me an email, hey, long read, well worth it, delete. I'm not reading it. We're going to measure your social structures, your comfort with authority, your emotional intelligence, and then we're going to measure how you manage conflict. Okay? Yes.
You said there were 5 things that we were going to write down, but I only have 4.
We're going to get. Yeah, you want the 5th one right now?
No, you don't have to.
No, that's
You have to
okay.
give it to-
The 5th one. I love it. Let's go now. The 5th one. Meet people where they need to be met. Number 5, meet people where they need to be met. So, gang, I'm done. First break is in 10 minutes. John's going to remind us. All right? Ready to go? My assessment's right in front of me. My assessment you can look at, right? I'm never going to look at your assessment and not let you look at my assessment. Okay? This is page 1. It's called ADW, A Deeper Way. So 71 police departments in Texas leverage this assessment. 97 cities leverage this assessment inside the city. Companies leverage this assessment. Okay? It's called a deeper way. Here's page 2. It's the table of contents. So get on page 2. We're happy with ourselves. We're already knocking out 2 pages so far. Okay, look at page 3. Oh my gosh, page 3, we're moving. Now, here's where I want you to focus on page 3 at the very bottom. Pick up your pens on page 3. And here's what I want you to write at the bottom of page 3. Is this good? Look at me. Look at me. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to write at the bottom, right here. You see what this says? This measures how you process information, where you orient yourself to gain energy. I want to focus here. I want you to write the words hard on problem. Everybody in this council, assistant city managers, mayor, council members, everybody in this room, you have every right to be hard on the problem. I also expect you, what's wrong? Hard on the problem. Hard on the problem. Hard on the problem. Right here. Hard on problem. The next thing I want you to do, is that better? Nope. Next thing I want you to do, soft on people. If you don't like the word soft, put respectful on people. If you don't like the word respectful, put fair on people. Hard on the problem, respectful on the people. Where does this come in? Gang, this comes in when we're talking with each other. You can be as hard as you want on the problem. But you have to be what, gang? Soft on the people. When you're working with staff, there's some council members with council, they take a strip out of the staff. They think like this is open season. No, that's not the point. Be as hard as you want on the what. And what then? Soft on people. This morning, right now, in Atlanta, my son, who's 22, is breaking up with his 3-year girlfriend, who goes to the University of Auburn. It's happening right now. And the number one thing I could tell him, you drive to her. You go to her. And it's not going to work. She's going to move to Connecticut, take a job with Underground. They're not going to be together again. Number one piece of coaching I said to him was what? Be hard on the what, Jonah? And be what? He said, boy, that's the hardest part. Breaking up's easy, but doing it with what? Dignity. That's the hardest part. And my daughter came home with her new fiance and said this one phrase: we want to move in together for the next year. Until we get married. Guess what? You better be hard on the what? But you get one chance. You get one chance to do that. Is that true, dads? Is that true? One chance to do it correctly. This assessment will measure how naturally you do that. Page 4. Let's get to work. Page 4. You're going to notice, and here's what I want you to do. Start looking over at your neighbors. Just start looking at your neighbors and see where they sit on page 4. Now, you're going to notice the right-hand side. Look at the right-hand side. Openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, emotionality. Look at the left-hand side. Conventional. Most police chiefs in Texas, high on conventional. High on conventional. Love conventional. Flexible, conscientious. So let's interpret it. So if you see this right here, percentile standing, right here, look at this, gang. Look at the very first one. You see a 95? You see a 95? What does that say, gang? It's just a what? It's your default. Can you be conventional? Yeah, you can. It's going to take a lot of energy, though. It's going to take a lot of energy. Look at this right here. What if you see a number that's in the middle, like Marcel? I'm in the middle of flexible and conscientious. I'm in the middle of introversion, extroversion. I'm in the middle of tough-minded and agreeableness. What does that mean? That means that I'm going to lean towards maybe being flexible, but I can do what? I can flex back and forth very, very easily. Very, very easily. Now, is anybody in the room high, like Marcel? I'm at 91% conventional, which means it's hard for me to rethink things. It's very hard. Where are you sitting? 88. The first item, conventional. Conventional and open. Where are you? I'm at 91. Where are you? No, it's not. Where are you? 96. So if Wes and Marcel were in a line of, it says there's a line of 100 people, and it said traditional, grounded, and practical, prefers to engage in the here and the now, thinks concretely and narrowly, likely gravitates towards established or already proven methods. And we come in and we say, let's run the meeting differently. Our heads explode. But then we go, you know what? I think we can maybe do that. I think we could. We can be open, though. We could. Look over here. I'm 91%. I'm 91% conventional. You're on the open side. No. Mm-mm. Look under controlled. Look at controlled at the very bottom. Controlled and emotionality. I'm 75% on control. Let's get to work, though. Look at page 5. Look at page 5. And what we're noticing now, here's what we're going to do. Here's what we're going to do on page 5. Here's what we're going to do on page 5. I'm taking page 4. I'm taking page 4, family 1, and I'm blowing it up onto the family. See, see what it says family 1, family 2, family 3. The first one is just the types. These are all the traits. These are traits now. So look at this. Who in the room is high in concrete thinking? Concrete thinking. I love concrete thinking. Concrete thinking, yeah. Mike, where are you sitting? You're on the imaginative side, yeah? Who's high on imaginative? Yeah, where are you sitting? You're high on concrete, yeah. Who's high on seeks routine? I'm at 94%. I love routine. I like council meetings at this time on Tuesday nights. Don't go changing them. No. Where are you sitting on routine? It seeks change. Okay? Where are you sitting? On seeks change. Where are you sitting? On which one? On seeks change or routine. Okay? That's very what? At what number? You can go back and forth. You can flex between the two of those very easily. Look down on solitudinous on the left-hand side. Who's high in solitudinous? Yeah, who likes to be by themselves? I like. It says energized by solitude, seeks out activities that can be done alone, avoids social engagements or situations involving larger groups. And there's nothing wrong with that. People go, well, why do you like to be by yourself? Oh. Okay. One more, and we got to go. Look at trust on the right-hand side towards the bottom. Trust. This is a big one. Can you trust Wes? There's only 4 things I can trust: his integrity, his judgment, his competency, or his intentions. Where are you sitting with trust? Skeptical? 76, yeah. Anybody high in trust? I'm not high in trust. I'm go back and forth. Anybody? Where are you? 83, okay. Where are you sitting? Okay. Trust, yeah? In the center? Yeah. I know that's not true. On the skeptical side. That's okay. Yeah. What'd you say?
70.
Okay. Skeptical side? Way over? 87 skeptical? 61 skeptical? 70 trust? 99 unskeptical. 99 unskeptical. Okay. Here's what I want you to do in your teams of 2. Here's what I want you to do in your teams of 2. Look at this, gang. The first thing I want you to think about before we go to break, here's what I'm asking that you do. Look at page 5 and look at page 5 and the top of page 6. Page 5 and the top family 5 of page 6. Look at 5 and 6. Page 5 and 6. And here's the question that I want you to ask. This one right here. So psychological safety is a belief that no one will be punished, humiliated for speaking up with ideas, questions, or concerns. Fair game? That's what psychological safety is. Here's the question. The question is, what do you think? What do the 2 of you think are some of these behaviors that are most important to be displayed as a counselor? In your opinion, what are the essential behaviors for providing psychological safety? That's the only question I want you to ask. Look at all these. There's 40 of them. I mean, you've got 40 to pick from page 5 and the top of page 6. I want the top 3 in your teams of 2. Give me 3 of the biggest ones you think are most important. Just give me 3 that you and John think most important. Bless you. About 30 seconds. You guys. John has said we're going on break. So here's what we're doing. When we come back from break, it's okay. At quarter till, I need 3 behaviors for psychological safety that the 2 of you decide. Just take a break. If you're done, you can take a break. Yeah. See you back here at quarter till.
Test 1 2. One, two. 1 2. One, two, 1 2. 1 2 1 2. 1 2 1 2. 1 2 1 2. 1 1 2 1 2. 1
Yes, that's correct. So basically, aspects inside at about 2 minutes.
Let's do it, gang. Come on back. Here's what I want you to do. Here's what I want you to do. This team, lean over to this team right here. This team here, share with this team right here. Here's the three we picked. Here's the three we picked. You share your three, you share your three. And just real quickly, you share your three. This team here shares with this team here. Yeah. Three. Here's the three we got. Here's the three we got. Take a minute. You two float. Come over here. Go over there. Yeah, just come over and listen. Just come over and listen. Yeah. Come over and listen. See how similar they are. See how different they are. Just take a minute. It doesn't take much. Just share. Here's what we learned. Here's the three we picked. Here's the three we picked. You can have three, you can have five, you can have 7. About 30 more seconds, and then we'll come back as a group. Just start finishing up. Here's what we shared. Here's what we shared. Okay, good. Yeah. I feel you. I feel you. I feel you. All right. To bigger words, bigger font. Here's what I want you to think about. Okay? Here's the big deal. Here's the takeaway, and we got to go. Here's the takeaway. Look down at trust. Did anybody say trust was important? Okay, let's look down. If someone says, welcome to the team, welcome to the team, we're a team of trust, and you look down at your assessment and you go, okay, I'm in the middle. I can trust and I can be skeptical. Okay, I've got that one. There are some people in the room, like my wife when she took this. She's at like 97% skeptical. For my wife to be part of this team, who I love dearly, she sits in the world of, you're always going to be under watch. She's grown up this whole entire, she's very slow to warm. She sits at skeptical. She's going to have to lean into that and learn how to trust people, even though she may not know them very well. Who picked concern for others? Anybody pick concern for others? Yeah, look at concern for others. My wife is high in concern for self. No, be concerned for others. That's a nice thing to say. We're like, yep, concern for others, check. But I don't do it what? What's the word I'm looking for? I don't do that naturally. I can do it. I just may not do it what, gang? Naturally. This just says this is my default. My default is I'm high in skepticism. My default is I'm high in self-concern for self. It's not bad. It's just what? My default. And we got to be able to do what? Pull together or you're going to pull apart. What's another one you guys picked? Where's diplomacy? Okay, look, Marcel sits right in the middle at 50. I can be diplomatic and I can be direct. But there might be some people that are high in what? Directness. Susie, high in directness. We are talking about the problem right now. I'm about diplomacy. Let's just sweep it under the rug. Let's just be happy. Come on. So we got it, gang. What is this teaching you? There's a lot of great things that are on a team that we just may do naturally or not do naturally. So, what did you guys pick? Any other ones? Open to learning. Okay, so Marcel sits at 93% accepts knowledge. So if I read the internet, I'm like, it's true. Somebody comes up and says, hey, there's going to be a storm coming. It's true. I don't ever go back and what? Check. I'm very gullible. Accepts knowledge. It's what it says right there. I do it at a very high level. Open to learning says what? Receptive to new forms of knowledge or theories actively seeks new learning. I don't go and actively seek it. Somebody sends me a podcast. Listen to it. Sounds great. But I don't go and actively do it. And so seeks learning means what? I got to remain teachable to remain what, gang? You wrote it down. Remain humble. Remain humble. Anybody else pick one? Anybody else? New one? Different one to pull together? The biggest thing I want you to take away is everybody can say we need to do these things. The question is, can you do them naturally or do you have to lean into those? If you look at page 6, I want to move on. Look at these right here. You see the page on the left-hand side where it says self-concept aspects. Make a note. Make a note. Never measured before in any human. This lets you see. These are called self-concept. This is how you see yourself. This is that self-talk. This is the self-talk that you say to yourself all day long. And this is what gets in the way of you maybe being able to provide some psychological safety. This is what gets in the way. Yeah, self-talk. Do you want to share a little bit about what you...
So I read a book called Chatter, The Voice in Our Head, Why It Matters, and it talked about the speed at which the voice in our head, and everybody has a voice, and the speed at which it talks to us in terms of in our mind. So it's like 4,000 words per minute. And so over the course of a day, you hear that voice talking to you, and it's the equivalent of 320 State of the Union addresses. Typically, those are about 6,000 words. It takes the president about an hour to get through that. So that voice in your head, the volume, just in terms of how much, is really impactful on how then you filter what you're hearing, what you're thinking about, how you're processing things, what your mood is, how you feel about yourself, how you feel about others. And so it's really important to kind of understand what that chatter is in your mind. Because it's so much that if you can't harness that productively, it can derail you.
And that's a big word, derail. Derail. So here's what it says. Thank you. Here's what it says. This is what we say to ourselves. Right? So if you look at mine, I'm at 90% doubts abilities. I'm at 90% unvarnished presentation. I'm at 76% self-accepting. I'm at 91% self-deprecation. Okay? And so when it comes to your self-concepts, take a look down and just ask yourself one question. What comes up for you? What comes up for me is 90% doubts abilities. Why is that? Because I work a ton with police and I'm not a police officer. And most police don't like to listen to people who aren't police officers. They don't like that. It's just one of the things they never say, but it's always known. Yeah. And I doubt myself every day. I'm not one of them. I wonder what they're going to think about what I'm going to share. I know where that 90% self-doubt comes from. You want to talk about taking Civil War statues down. I doubt my opinion. You want to kneel at the anthem, that conversation? I doubt my opinion. Black Lives Matter. I doubt my opinion. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. That is so, when I saw that, I thought, it's exactly right. That's my default. I don't want to hurt people's feelings. I don't want to not have them like me. So that's what comes up for me. So look at your neighbors and see where they sit relative to you around doubts, abilities. Are they high in self-presentation or are they high in unvarnished presentation? High in self-presentation means what? I spend a lot of time making sure people see me as I'm put together. I've got things under control. That's a big deal. I'm at 91% on the opposite. Yeah. Here's my faults. Here's my foibles. Take a look and see where you sit. Okay. Is anybody in here high in unvarnished presentation? Anybody high in unvarnished presentation? Yeah. 84? You're 84? Yeah. 84? 84. Okay. Unvarnished presentation on the left-hand side? Yeah. No? Okay. Are you on self-presentation? Very good. Take a look at the next section. The next section, gang, never been measured before in a human. And what we know is this, and this is a truth. These are called your psychological values. And what they are is what you need physically. And look at these words. These are big words. What I need on the council to feel grounded and to feel secure. And there's only 5. And those are the 5. And some people have those needs. You can take out the word values and you can put the word needs in. When you look at the values information, values connection, values ambition, values acknowledgement, values certainty, look what it says up there. So when you're married, when you have children, when you are part of a board, when you're on a council, people seek this in the environment and the relationships. Look what it says. It's self-defined. Look what it says. It has to be felt. You can tell all day long, we're a big team. We're a big team. We're a big team. We got to work together. It has to be what, gang? It has to be felt. I can tell my 3 children all day long, you're important people doing important work. It has to be felt. Look at this one. Without it, without information for some people, without this feeling of connection, without this feeling of ambition or acknowledgement, we start to feel what? Defensive. And we start to feel insecure. If you ever wonder where your insecurities come from, it's one of these 5. We become insecure. So the higher the score, the more important or even necessary it is for you. The higher the score, the more important it is or even necessary for you. So when it comes to having a 99, I'm at 99% in exactness. I have no need for information. You send me a document, I'm like, man, I'll read that later, and I almost never read it. Who's high in information in the room? Who loves information? Who loves data? Give me what's all, they love being in the loop. Is everybody here on, what are you sitting at? Where are you sitting on information? 95. I'm at 99% on inexactness. So you and I would be diametrically opposite. What does that mean? That means if I'm in a meeting, I'm more prone not to call you because I don't really care. I need to have this information. And you're sitting over here saying, no one called me. I missed the meeting. I'm like, oh, that's a good point. I should have called you. I don't have that need. So it's not about you. It's about your council members who have the need for information. And so when it comes to these, we have to remember the less I have, like I have a high need for acknowledgement. I have a high need. I'm at 94% ambition. I love to accomplish things, but it's what? It could be picking up trash on a Saturday morning, as long as I can accomplish one thing per day, working an hour a day while I'm on vacation. I have a high need for accomplishment. My wife sits way over on self-defined. She didn't have to be accomplishing anything on vacation. She's on vacation. My need is way higher on that. Look at your neighbors, and here's what I want you to look at. Look down there at value certainty. There's lots of people in this room who have a huge need for certainty. They love to know what's coming next. And there's two people in the room who don't care. And they're sitting over here like this going, what y'all fuss for? What's wrong? And we'll show the data up here. But there's a high need in this room for certainty. Things to go traditionally. Don't ripple this. Man, we said, high need in this room. Look at acknowledgement. There's a couple people in this room, very high. It's like, please thank me. Please just acknowledge that I'm here. There's some people in the room, they don't care. They don't need any acknowledgement. Yeah. So here's what you got to start thinking about. Look at this. Self-concepts and psychological values. How does your self-concepts and psychological values of your team members impact their capacity to accept psychological safety? There's still more, though. Check this out. So here's what I want you to do. Go to page 10. Go to page 10, if you would. Go to page 10. Yeah. And you can start to see on page 10, you see where these two words are? You see where it says expressed and underlined? You see those two words? Expressed and underlined? Express those people out loud. The right leadership is what we call self-talk. Here's what I'm looking for. You see this? You see this right here where they're both the same? They're both on the same side? That's called congruence. That's what Mike thinks, and that's what Mike feels, and that's what Mike says. What Mike says and what he feels are the same thing. That's called congruence. Look at this. You might notice one that's different. Hey, I tell people, I accept myself and my own flaws. And then deep down inside, you're like, man, I have no idea what I'm doing here. I'm not even sure I belong here. So take a look at your neighbors and see. Well, here's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for congruence. You know, very with things being good. You're okay with not having a thing. I'm looking for congruence and incongruence. Yeah? Oh, I have some good, Wes. I've got some great. Okay. One more thing, and then we'll see the team collectively. Look down. I want you to go to psychological values on page 10. Here's a good notice for this team. Psychological values. What I'm looking for again is congruence. What I say is what I feel. And an incongruence. Now, this is a big one for Marcel. Marcel will tell people, hey guys, I don't need you guys to thank me. I get my own value and sense of worth in policing. They say, we just do this because we like to protect. And we like the idea of helping people. But deep down inside, it's like, but if I'm wearing my uniform, it'd be okay if you bought me lunch. That's okay. People feel that. I tell people right here, I'm good. I just like helping people. But at 94%, I want you to thank me. I've told my family, I'll do dishes tonight. Nobody has to clean up. I got it. And as I'm taking my plate away from you, I'm like, you better say thank you. Who does that? Who does that? Who tells people don't thank me and then holds a resentment against them? Right here. I do that. That is the dumbest thing you can do. And when I looked at this, I went, oh my God, that's so true. I want to be noticed. I want to be thanked. I want to be acknowledged. And my wife has none of that. There's not one bone in her that provides acknowledgement. And so what I ask her is once a month, if you would just say, Marcel, thank you for doing what you're doing. I'll run through walls. I need what? I need acknowledgement. And nobody raised their hand in the fourth grade and says, I'd like to have a lot of acknowledgement needs. And so that's what happens. People who are older than me in leadership roles, there's some people who are younger than them that have a high need for acknowledgement. And they're like, why are they so needy? Why do you always need to be thanked? Well, guess what? That's my need, and it's going to get met. It's either going to get met by you or somebody else. These needs will get met. So it's important. And so look in this room. Gang, I'm telling you, and you'll see the numbers here in a couple minutes. There's a lot of people in here that have this need right here. And it's important. It's important. Let's look at the group. Here's where I'm at. I took everybody's. I'm right here. I'm right here on page 10. I'm right here on self-concepts. These are everybody's in the room. I took everybody's in the room. This is all 11 of us in the room. And what does this teach me? That we feel a lot of things that we don't tell people. A lot of underlying right here. Unvarnished presentation. There's a lot of us willing to kind of present our flaws. And there's a lot of us in the room, that have this self-deprecation. Here's where we sit. In the room, Kevin, Wes, Cliff, Mike, and John, over here, on self-reflection. These colleagues here, highly introspective. Look over here. Wes will not only tell you he's reflective, but at the highest level. And so is John. John is over here, and so is Mike. They're over here saying, you know what? Maybe I should do things differently. You know what? That's true. I need to get better with that. Iju, Tracy, Brianna, Mark, Vicky, and Dunn are sitting over here saying, I don't really spend a lot of time. Tracy's over here telling you, I not only tell you that, but I also feel it. Over here at the highest level. And both of them are needed. Both of them are important. Both of them are necessary. Not one's better than the other. But what it lets you kind of see is who might be readily actionable on the feedback and who might need to think about it a little bit more. So that's what it means. It allows me to kind of see, how might I approach that person? How might I share with that person? Look at the next one. Self-confidence. You can look at yours. It's right up here. Self-confidence. Self-confidence says interdependent and self-sufficient, believes in self and own abilities, comfortable making decisions, may over-rely on own perspective of self. Kevin, Wes, Tracy, John, Brianna. Over here on doubts abilities. Put Marcel over here. You got Don, Vicky, Mark, Mike, Cliff, and Bijou. They may have something around them doubting of theirs. And so doubts abilities, doubts own decisions and abilities, relies on others. That's where I'm at. I love asking people, hey, what do you think? Hey, what do you think about this? Hey, what's kind of your opinion on this? I'm not going to go in there with my own opinion. I'm going to go in with what? A collective sense of opinions. And so I do doubt myself at the highest level, very naturally. That lets you see where the team sits. This does not mean that they're more self-confident. This simply means they think they can do it. I'm doing it all the time. I just have to have maybe some other people's opinions to confirm that what I'm doing is smart and right and healthy and successful. Thoughts and comments? What do you guys think? Somewhat true, kind of true? Yeah.
Hey, can I ask? There's 3 things for each of us on this one, but not. So what's the third?
This one right here is on a typical day. On a typical day. Typical day, that's this right here. Sorry about that. Then we have the expressed, and then we have the underlined. Typical day is you at work. A little bit of stress, a little bit of good. Just typical day.
Okay.
Typical day. Not stressful day, not good day, you at home. Typical day. Okay. So when it comes to this right here, and I can send this to everybody. I'll say absolutely, you guys can have all this. You absolutely can have this. Absolutely. Look at self-presentation. Somebody look at self-presentation. Self-presentation seeks to present a favorable image of self to offer. Oh. Now, what happened to our other colleagues on the side, though? There we go. So this we'll stay there just for a second. seeks to present a favorable image of self to others, is not transparent about own motives or flaws, is overly concerned about reputation, or seeks to please influential people, possibly extremely moralistic. Okay? Look at Wes. He'll not only tell you that, he believes it deep in his heart. It's very important to him. Don, same thing at the highest level. Now go to the other side. Watch the opposite. Go to the opposite side. Yeah? Look over here. Willing to present own flaws or shortcomings to others, may be overly self-disclosing about own motives. People don't like it sometimes when I tell them I'm an alcoholic. I'm way over here on this side. Sometimes I tell people way too much about my family. About own motives, is unconcerned about own reputation. Hey, once you're an alcoholic, you don't care what your reputation is. You don't care. Think of it. My mom still thinks it's a what? She still thinks it's a decision. It's a moral decision. Like if you could just drink like Andre. No, Mom, it's a disease. No, it's actually just a decision. You just lack willpower. That's her idea. And I don't care anymore. Think what you want. I can't control that. I'm 54. I got to go. If you think I got a problem, then that's your problem. I'm just trying to live life in a world that has what? A ton of alcohol. About your own reputation or image, may expect generosity from influential people. I don't believe that. That's not where I'm at. But here's all of our colleagues that have this right here. So they come into the relationship saying, man, I'm about progress, not perfection. Man. And our colleagues on the other side are the same thing. They spend more time, though what? Given the perception of them having everything put together. Look at the next one. Self-accepting. Can you blow that up for me? Okay. Accepts self and own flaws. Copes well with struggles, challenges, or hardships. Relates well with others who have different opinions from own. Can validate self. Okay, so are these all of my colleagues here? Okay, so Marcel, I'm high on self-accept. I'll tell people I'm high on self-accepting, but I don't believe it. I really do kind of self-question myself. So over here, Wes, very high. Over here, Mark, very high over here. And same with Vicky, very high over here. Look what it says. Challenges or hardship, relates well to others who have different opinions from own. Go to the other side. Self-questioning, may not accept full self and own flaws, seek status to feel comfortable, may not respect the opinions of others, or if they are different from own, seeks validation from others. So, man, I would be so much on this side. Because if I think your opinion's different, I'm not going to tell you. But then I'm going to go ask other people, hey, what do you think about that? Hey, what do you think about that? Yeah. And so if you look over here, Tracy, at the highest level. At the highest level. Will say it, and she also, too, she feels it. Go to the next one. Self-deprecation, and also, too, self-importance. If you look over here, on self-importance, believes own needs, accomplishments, and views are important to others, may expect others to recognize own importance and value, may overlook the importance of others. Remember, I may have this need, but somebody else behind me may not. Somebody else on the board may not. And at the highest level, Wes, and at the highest level, Kevin, they have this idea that this is the way I feel about the opinions that I have. Go to the other side. Marcel, I'm way over here on self-deprecation. I not only tell you my opinions aren't probably right or good, I actually feel it at 87%. My opinions probably aren't as important as everybody else's. Feels own opinions and views and actions are less important than others. My father has actually told me, Marcel, don't placate me. Just tell me what you think. Seeks needs as important, may not readily advocate for own self. And that's a society thing. That's a society thing. We all need to advocate for ourselves and our needs to get them met in any relationship. That's the definition of collaboration. Collaboration is when two people's needs come together and they're interdependent. That's the definition of collaboration. Interdependent needs, optimal return for both, implicit trust, and shared power. And I struggle with that. Okay? On this side of the house, many of us have that idea about our opinions. Look at the next one. Let's go to the values. Now I'm down here, gang. Psychological values. I'm on this side right here. This is very, very important for everybody to kind of see. So let's look at values information. Okay? Values information. My colleague here at the highest level wants to know what's going on. That's important. It's important. And if my colleague here doesn't know what's going on, he feels insecure. My colleague here will say, you know what? I need information, but deep down, I'm still okay. I'm still okay. And so does Tracy. Look at the other side. Values information. This is where Marcel sits. I sit at 90. I'm at 99% in exactness. I not only say it. Look at Wes. Wes sits way over here. Has little need to know all relevant information. Will be comfortable relying on own intuition. Does not require objective data to feel comfortable making decisions. May become frustrated by frequent requests for information. When you ask this guy for lots of information, just be mindful of sitting there saying, why are you always up in my grill? Why you want to know all these things? Okay? It's important. Look at Bijou. Look at Cliff. They sit over in the world of inexactness. I sit in this world right here. Look at Mark. Mark at the highest level will tell you, hey, I don't need all the information, and he feels it at the highest level. Same thing with Mike. Okay? Not a huge need for those. Thoughts and comments on that? What do you guys think? Is it somewhat true, kind of true? Yes.
I actually have a question. So I see John there. It's like, pretty much how would you interpret that? Like, where
You can flex both ways. You can flex both ways, yeah. I can have the inexactness, but I can also have the need for information. I have no need for it. Yep. Now remember what we said, it has to be self-defined. Self-defined. Go back to values information if you would. Thank you. Let's go back. It can be self-defined. Needs information to gain a sense of security. May become distressed from a lack of detailed information. Is uncomfortable making decisions without extensive objective information. May not trust own intuition. On the other side, it says what? I trust my intuition. I don't need all this data. This might be more data. The other side might be more gut. Okay? Noodle it. It's self. Let's go to the next one. Values connection. Marcel, on values connection, I don't have it. I sit right in the middle. I have low affiliation in values connection. Needs to feel connected to others to gain security or fulfillment. Needs to be around others to feel a sense of belonging. Seeks to affiliate groups of larger purpose. So some people like to be affiliated to people. Some people like to be affiliated with the group like a council or a team or a company. And we have some here. We have Wes, very high on the need for connection. We've got Don. We've got Vicky. Tracy. Tracy will tell you, yeah, I'm not that high in the need for connection, but I do feel it, though. I feel it more intrinsically that I have that need. Yeah. Look at Kevin. Kevin will say, hey, you know what? I have that need to be more in the middle, but I also have a need to be connected to maybe a group or a team or maybe individuals. That's for you to decide. If we look at the other side, own sense of identity. This is my wife right here. Own sense of identity is unrelated to feeling connected to others. Does not need a sense of community or belonging to feel fulfilled. Okay? May feel that connection with groups impedes individualism and autonomy. At the highest level, Mark. He not only says it, but he also feels it at a very high level. And it's not because he doesn't like to be part of a team. He just knows what? My sense of identity isn't identified to that. It's not part. I'm good by myself. I'm good with this group and I'm good without my group. I like, you know what? No, I like being part of AA. That's important to me. But I can also be what? Unconnected to people. So just because you all come together doesn't mean that everybody else has a need to be what? Connected. It doesn't mean that way. And it's not wrong. I wonder if my father took this, where he would sit on that with 5 children and 13 grandchildren and 3 great-grandchildren. He's moved so far away with my mother to be away from everybody. And yet we still what? Want to be connected to your parents. Where does he sit? Where does he stand with this? Look at the next one. This is big for Marcel. I'm at 86% and 94%. I have to feel like I'm accomplishing something. I do not feel on vacation. I do not feel on Saturday. I do not feel on Sunday that binging on Netflix is smart for me to do. I don't feel that. I have to have a sense of what? What's that word, gang? A sense of accomplishment. It could be working out. It could be going to pick up trash on Marsh Lane in Farmers Branch, Texas. It could be for a half hour. It could be for 45 minutes. My colleagues here have a high need right here. Wes not only says it, but he also feels it. Ambitions or sense of achievement, success is a large part of their identity, may experience distress around not accomplishing enough. Look at the other side. Look at the other side. There's my wife, self-defined, feels secure on the weekends, feels secure on vacations. In the absence of tangible accomplishments, content with place in life. Success is not a major driver motivator. May grow frustrated with discussions about goals and aspirations. At the highest level, right here. I say it, but I also feel it right here. Brianna, right here. Well, let's look. Let's look right here. Here's you right here. You're saying it over here, but you're feeling it. So what you're saying is exactly what you just said. Maybe what you're feeling, though, is I can still do it. I can still make it work. But yeah, you are saying that. That's exactly what it's showing. There you go. That's the internal feeling of you right there. But I like to be it, though. I actually will tell people more about that. Last one. Last one, Dan. That's not true. Values acknowledgement. And this is big for each board member to know, each council member to know. Values and expects recognition from others. Marcel under values acknowledgement. I'm at 94% underlined. I really want you to thank me. I really want you to be appreciative. I really want you to notice me. Values and expects recognition from others. Feels self-doubt when they do not receive acknowledgement from those they see to be important. Responds well to genuine encouragement and support. Seeks to have an impact. It's important. It's important that these people feel, in order for them to belong, hey, nice work. Hey, thank you. Hey, good job. Look at the other side. Look at the other side where my wife lives. My wife lives on South, does not rely on others' acknowledgement for own value and sense of self-worth. May not seek to expect to be acknowledged or for contributions. May be ambivalent towards receiving recognition. There are some people that I work with, when you thank them, they're like, okay. Cool. But I'm thanking you. I bought you lunch. Yeah, that's cool. Don't need it, but thanks. It's awesome. Bijou, highest level. Yeah, Vicky, right here. So it's not that that's not needed. It's just for what? When you have to remember, there might be some people that want to be thanked. There might be some people that want to be acknowledged. There might be some people that want to be noticed. But Bijou's like, we're good. Thoughts and comments, what do you think about that? Is that somewhat true, kind of? Yeah. How's this sitting with you? All this information, just kind of what's kind of going on?
Well, some of it I completely identify with. I mean, I know I'm the case, and even going through the questions, you knew as you were answering the questions, it's like, yeah, this makes sense. There are other items that I scratch my head, and I'm like, okay, are we just defining things differently, or this doesn't sound right? Absolutely. It can't possibly be right because I know myself perfectly. So,
so we all reserve the right to be smarter tomorrow, so we can absolutely take a look at it. I think we do have, this is our last one. This is the biggest one for the room. I put this one last because it's the biggest one. struggles to accept uncertainty, is uncomfortable when circumstances are ambiguous or unknown, feels distressed when future is unclear. Now remember, future could be 1 hour, future could be 1 week, future could be the next council meeting, future can be the next parade, whatever it is. At the highest level, right here. Highest level. Kevin, he feels it at the highest level. It's important to you. Certainty is important. Yeah. Accounts payable and accounts receivable in a company, that's important. Let's be very certain on that. When it comes to Tracy, she'll say it, but she also feels it. Mike, same thing. Mark. And then Don down here. John will say it, but he also feels it too. Look at the other side. So what's the opposite of value certainty? Yes. Oh, because you can go both ways on that. Yeah. So you can you don't really have a sense feeling. Your energy in that one isn't really claimed. That's okay. No, it's not your so-so. You just don't really claim any energy on it. You feel it, and it's not really that important of a sense felt. That's okay. Last one, gang. Look at our two colleagues here. I'm at 96% accepts ambiguity. Is comfortable with uncertainty or ambiguity. May not actively work to make situations secure or certain. Can function without a clear or obvious future. What do you think? Is that somewhat true? Kind of true? Yeah. You feel it way over here. You'll tell people, I like certainty. You can actually work in a very kind of ambiguous environment. If you had 100 police chiefs in this room, about 75% of them would be on value certainty. They love certainty. And that's what makes it so hard for policing to change sometimes, when they value certainty. Okay? Before we go to break, Mike, thoughts and comments based on what you just saw. Love. Certainly. Biggest takeaway so far this morning? We've been together for 2 hours. We're going to take a break right now. What's been kind of sitting with you?
I know how I can better help that person get to
And that's meeting people where they need to be met. You know, the worst thing to do is when you hug somebody and they don't hug you back. And you should have never hugged them to begin with. Because they're not hugging people. And you misread it. I've done it twice in my life. It's a horrible feeling where you think they're probably going to hug me. I should hug them. And they don't hug you back. And they're like, what are you hugging me for? You're an idiot. Right? When you're dead, the best quote I ever read was, when you're dead, you do not know you're dead. And all the pain is felt by other people. And that's the same exact thing that happens when you're stupid. You just didn't know. I just misread the situation. And I hugged the person. Key takeaway, and we'll go to break. What's been most helpful this morning, last 2 hours? We've only been together for 2 hours.
Just that as self-aware as I think I am, there's still some things that probably I could get some clarity on, right? I mean, there are still blind spots out there. There's still some things that, I thought I knew myself pretty well, but there's still some things that I'm not always aware of.
Intellectual humility. There might be some things that I can still tune down and tune up. Brianna? Good. That's the cultural awareness, that others awareness, right? The cultural awareness. I may not know this person as well as I thought. See everybody back here at quarter till. Just take 8 minutes, quarter till, bio break, quarter till, and then we'll finish it up. Page 12 should look like this. Here's page 12. It should look like that. Here's where we are. Yeah? And now we're going to go at a pretty good clip. Look at your neighbors. Look at your neighbors, page 12. And what this is you on a typical day. When you wake up in the morning, your energy goes in this area. Yeah? Look at your neighbors. Hang on, gang. Come here. It's okay. Look at mine. Yeah? Remember, hard on problems, soft on people, hard on problems, soft. The most you can have is 6. 6 bars. 6 bars is the highest. 6 bars is the highest. There's not a better bar. There's not a better look. It simply lets you look at your neighbor and say, when you bump into them, here might be some things you notice about them. So it lets you see. So look at your neighbors and find out which one of their defaults. In other words, which one do they have the highest amount? They may have 2 or 3. It also wants you to do this. Which ones do you find to be their least? Look at their highest, look at their lowest. Look at their highest, look at their lowest. Yeah? Look at the highest. Can I have your ears, please? Can I have your ears? Here's the thought. If you ever wondered, the idea that says being more people-focused, that means you value connection, diplomacy, concern for others, and emotional intelligence. Look at my hand, gang. Those 4 aspects. If Cliff was values, connection, diplomacy, concern for others, and emotional intelligence. Look at these, gang. These 4 behaviors make that part of my personality. I'm your consultant today. And look at me on conceptual thinking. It doesn't mean I can't be conceptual thinking. It just means what? I don't do it that naturally. I'm better at being concrete thinking. That's what it means. It doesn't mean anything else other than that. Can he be people focused? He can be. Absolutely, he can be people. Is he going to have to lean into it? I don't know, maybe. Right? So that's what it means. If you look here, they're opposites. If you look at your police chief Danny Barton, high here and high here. Very high in ideas, very high in getting things done. He's in the top 5 of police chiefs in Texas when it comes to emotional intelligence with his police department. Bar none. No question. If you look here, when you look at your most prominent vectors and your least prominent vectors, now here's the question. How might you show up to a council meeting? This lets me see the energy, right? This lets me see the energy of you showing up. If you're high in introversion, then guess what? And let me make a point. Let me make a point. Just because somebody doesn't talk during a council meeting doesn't mean they're not with us. Okay? Let's be very clear on that. I may not share anything. It doesn't mean I'm not with you, though, because I might be high on introversion. And extroverts are sitting over saying, why aren't you talking? Why aren't you at least asking some questions? And the introverts are going, if you had lockjaw, that'd be amazing. If you would just stop talking, that would be great. So we have to think about that, too. Just doesn't mean that they're not talking, doesn't mean they're not with us. Okay? Now I want to go into detail. Here's what I want to do. The next page. Is that true? Very true. Next page, I want to look at this one right here. I want to look at enthusiasm driven and expectation driven. This lets me know what motivates you. Your approach to life, your approach to retirement, your approach to staying married, your approach to being on the council, your approach lets me see what these two are. The first one, you might bump into a council member who loves to multitask, loves to do lots of things while they're on the dais, loves to do lots of things when they're at home. You might meet a council member that's very what? Orderly, very procedural. When I make a brisket, I'll start with a recipe. But halfway through, I'm going over and doing many different things. I may wrap the brisket, I may not wrap the brisket. Don't tell me how to do it. I may put it in the oven, I may not put it in the oven. Don't tell me how to do it. I can blend both. You can be what, gang? You can be both. I can have a blend of both. There's not one better than the other. Look at page 13. Look at page 13, and it breaks down this one right here. It breaks down enthusiasm driven right here. Take a look at your neighbors. See where they sit with trust. Look at your neighbors. See where they sit with seeks change. Okay? Page 14. Look here. Look here. Look at your neighbors. Look at your neighbors on page 14 and look at values information. Page 14, values information. Look and see. Remember, it doesn't look interesting. Look at the next one. This is big for this room. This is big for this room. Look at me. Hang on, gang. Look at me. If you notice sometimes in council meetings, we have council members who may, across the country, stay here in concrete thinking, when in reality, we should be doing what, gang, as council members up here in conceptual thinking. This right here is 4 feet thinking. Huh? That's not us. That's not what we do. We're not down here. We're where, gang? We're up here. Think about what's happening in policing today. Police are not being asked to do the traditional things. They're being asked to do what, gang? Up here. Especially when sales taxes are down and you still have to provide the same amount of security for the entire city. I need more what? Conceptual thinking, high-level thinking, indecision making, and problem solving. But guess what? We naturally love what? I love the nitty-gritty. I love talking about details. No. We got to do what? We got to stretch our way out of that. Look at the next page. Look at the next page, if you would. This is right here. Concrete thinking. This over here. Hey, what if? Now, here's what happens. Some people in this room, you're very high in conceptual thinking. And our concrete thinkers are sitting over here going, okay, no more ideas. We've got to go home. No more ideas. We just need solutions. And the idea people are like, and we could do this, and what if we did this? These are our what if people, and these are our what is people. They have the no button. Look at the next page. Page 15. Page 15. Same beauty. Where's my card over here? Here's what typically kicks us right here, gang. It's this concrete thinking and this value certainty. Look at seek routine in the neighbor, concrete thinking, always kind of doing the same thing, and then value certainty. Take a look at those. Marcel on routine is at 94%. I'm at concrete thinking at 79%. And I'm at value certainty at 4%. I have no reason to think. It's a big one in the room. There could be some colleagues in the room that get their energy by just being what? And there's some colleagues in the room that just get their energy by what? Sharing. Take a look at the next page right here. So some people, they get their energy, they do well on their own. There's some people that need to be around people. It's really hard to stay sober on a Zoom meeting. It's really easy to stay sober when you're around other alcoholics. It's hard sometimes for these colleagues here to understand, why don't you share? Because we sit there and we can only talk to stop. People can be both. I can be very, very this at night, so I can be this during the day. Here's my biggest problem. I do something on Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday night. And it's time to go to work, and I need a little bit of this over the weekend. I need to get it. And it makes it harder to do this on Monday. Fair game? We overextend ourselves on the weekends, and that's not good for me. Take a look at page 17 and look at your neighbor. Look at your neighbors. On the very bottom section. Comfort with authority. Comfort with authority on 17. Added, accepted. Look at the next page. Here's the one I want you to focus on.
attention to detail, and solitudinous. Look at your neighbors and see where they sit with attention to detail and solitudinous. See where they sit. Lots of police chiefs are high in solitudinous and they're in charge of an entire department. What do you want to be? By myself in my office. Where do the team need you? They actually need you out in the field. It's the biggest paradox on the planet. But some people are very high in solitude, and there's nothing wrong with that. They just have to remember what? I got to go out. I got to be around people. That happens sometimes, and it's hard to do on a Tuesday night. You already put your 40 hours of work. Hey, gang. Here's the big one, too. Hard on problem. Hard on problems. Fair on people. Remember this. Remember, when we ask questions to the staff, after the staff is presented, and they've given everything they've done, everything they've got, when we ask questions, we can be hard on the what, gang? And very, very fair on the what? On the people. This just lets you see how naturally you do it. So please take a look here. There's some council members that rely on other council members to maybe talk through some issues. Maybe be able to think through some issues. Some council members, they don't talk by them. It's like, just show me the data. We're making it this way. My son's soccer coach, he had 2 different soccer coaches. One only put 11 players, and they were the best ones. But when they went to championships, he put 9 of the best players and 2 people, one with the spirit, one with the heart. You combine, you can be both. So don't ever think that one is better than the other. It's not. You can be people-focused and you can be outcome-focused. Take a look at page 19. Not too much, not too fussed over here. Not too fussed on this one. I'm mostly fussed on page 20. Take a look at page 20. Here's what I want you to look at your neighbors. Look at your neighbors when it comes to concern for others. Don't never see where you sit down and something bigger. You concern people naturally. Right. Like, okay, all right. Okay, concern for others. Something that needs. No, where's Marcel sits with concern for us? Marcel sits at 66 on concern for others. Look down on the page. Values. Okay. Look. Now start to think of all the pages. Look back to these pages. Go back to page 12 to page 20. Page 12 to page 20. Just take a look. Page 12 to page 20. I guess page 13. Page 13. Know your neighbor. What default behaviors you bring to most situations? Which one's your biggest one? All these pages. Which one's your 13, 14, 15, 16? Which one's your biggest one? 17, 18? Is it values and vision? Which one's your biggest one? Your biggest one. You're just your biggest one that you do most naturally. The one with the biggest number. The one with the biggest number. Which one has got your biggest number on it?
Did you figure it out?
You want to look at the king? Here's the team. You ever wondered that? I'll send you these as well. Here's the team. So let's look at the team. On the best day, this is you at home. This is you when there's no stress. This is you at 12:05 today, right? Just, you're on your own. Best day. Look at the trends. Look at the trends. Here. Humor, big one. Okay? Big one. Look over here on trust. 1, 2, 3, 4. The highest level. The highest level. Okay? Look over here on seats change. Got 3 people that are good at what? They're just doing naturally. Look over here on concrete thinking. Getting in the weeds, wrapping ourselves around the action. Look over here on value certainty. 99, 99, 95, 82. Right? That's a big deal for us. It's a big deal. Look at imaginative. This is great. This is great. Let's be thinking long term. We also have to have some concrete thinking. Let's be practical. Values and vision. Look at this on contemplation. Let me think about it. Big. It's big for us. So don't expect us to come up with an answer. Look on solitude. Solitude right here. 72, 72, 87. No big deal. So what are you noticing? This is us at home. Here's when we come to work. Here's us on the diets. Here's us on the diets. Look at this. Self-consciousness. Big one. Look at trust. Seek change. I'll send this to you. Look at concrete things. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Self-reflection. Open to learning. Comfort with authority. Not too fussed at all right here. Values information. One person values information.
This is not accurate.
No, this is a typical day. Typical. This is us under stress. We just overdo more. We'll just overdo. And you'll see it on your paper right here. So I'll send everybody this. What's the key takeaway? The key takeaway is look at concern for others. Look at concern for others. Doesn't mean you can't be concerned for others. It means we're going to have to what? Me and him do it a little bit. What about this one on trust? It doesn't mean that we can't trust. It just means we may not have that right now, and I have to be mindful of that. Mindful of that. Maybe over here on imaginative. And where's imaginative? Right there. We got some good people. Help us stay. Help us stay at 4,000 feet. And not be so concrete thinking, because I've got this need to understand the details. Fair game? Okay? What do you guys think? Somewhat true, kind of true? Do that. So this is just overdoing it. We're going to overdo contemplation. We're going to overdo, comfort with ambiguity. Yeah. So Yeah. We do, yeah. Absolutely right. So the more stressful, the bigger the opportunity, the more people are going to want to think about it. Yep. Yep. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How I receive that is that's
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think Mike's point is probably more indicative of our decision-making process as a council
Mm.
and the other notes. This is not in the house, you're not sitting in the office, you're not points in the face.
Let me put some teeth on it. Let me put some teeth on it. You're stressed when three things happen. Opinions vary, the stakes get high, and the emotions run strong. So when you think about allocating money that maybe came from a certain, portion of the budget, and emotions are running strong on where we should put that money, or opinions vary, or the stakes get high, that's when we notice the stress.
So Mike's point, though, staff, people sitting like us,
Yeah.
they need a yes or no.
Mm-hmm.
They don't care for the yes or no. Yes.
Mm.
When we don't need trust, we need to back up.
So now we have what? We have the awareness, and in that situation, now we've got to start what? Guys, here's what I'm hearing. We've got to start moving towards a decision. And both of these are going to be what? Pulling at each other. I need more time to think. I need a decision. I need more details. You bet. Self-reflection. Emotional absorption. This is where people start taking other people's problems and putting them on their shoulders and start carrying them throughout the entire council. Brianna? You bet. Emotions run strong, opinions vary, and the stakes get high. Those are the three biggest ways where people get stressed. Anything else?
This is about them. As we sit there, as I sit there, it is respectfully, let's ask them, there's really not a decision. Really not. So from I appreciate the stress. I feel like that was to do. And so from a perspective, I don't know if that comes for us. It's like it's not a stressful, not a stressful decision because it's not a life or death decision. It's are we going to go to the street? Are we going to open the center? Are we going to have a town open or not? I'm just thinking my perspective. To me, that's Tuesday night.
this group's perspective, they internalize the problem. They want to make the best decision for the city, and it is a lot for them to see. Yes, it's our, it was right. It's a critical decision. Okay. So yes, it's not literally life or death. It's very, it's how this council, which is a good thing, is taking the decision-making process is a very high point.
Let me add one more thing and then we'll move on. What Mike is describing is the decisions at an intellectual. They're not life or death. We understand that intellectually. But wait. I still make my decisions and I can hear other people's decisions and I start to feel it physically. I start to sweat. I start to get incensed. Then there's the emotional part, my constituents who I told. And then there's that spiritual part where I got to get this done. So intellectually, you're right. But on the dais, there's emotional, physical.
Remember when I assessed, I got the emotionally connected.
Mike's like, just make the decision. Yes.
All right. Not that I'm actually really curious to see like the collective score, because we do have 3 staff members that are on there. In your data, did you see that like maybe if like the council and mayor were separate, or like the council in general, since the council votes, if we pulled out the mayor and the 3 staff members, would that skew the results at all and kind of give a different picture? I'm just kind of curious just about that in general.
That's a great idea. We can do that. I have no idea. Nope.
Thank you for validating that I had a great idea. I really appreciate that.
We got 2 things left. We actually have 3 things left to do. A little bit more. Let's take a look. Let's take a look, if you would, on page 26. Here's 3 different personas of you. 3 different personas. I want to take a look at your 3 different. I want to take a look at your strengths. I want to take a look at your derailers, what might get us in the way. And then, guys, we're done. We got 3 things left to do. If you notice, right here, page 26, you might feel like you're getting ripped off. So this is you, Cliff. This is you on a typical day. This is you at home. That's you when you're stressed. So take a look. And read what it would say. Would you please read?
Which part?
What it says
Right here.
underneath that right there. Yeah,
Okay.
under typical day. The sideflex, you got it. Thank you. So this is a picture. Your brain, your left brain, loves pictures. Yes.
What's the difference in a typical day and a good day?
Yes. Read it right here. Take it right there for me. Here's your answer right there. Read that for me out loud.
Good day.
Right there. Yep. Good day.
This is your personality system as you reported your aspects when you are feeling free from stress. Good days or days when you aren't feeling under pressure or overextended can occur regularly or sporadically in your life. But that's somehow different than typical.
Yeah, typical has a little bit of stress and a little bit of good.
Okay.
Yeah. A good day is just no stress at all. You're getting to behave however you want. And then a stressful day is exactly that. We get a new mayor. We get a new city manager. We get a new council member. There might be something different in the rhythm. Yeah. Look at your neighbors. Look at your neighbors. And here's what I want you to notice right here. Do their bars change from typical to good? Do their bars change very significantly from typical to good?
Somewhat a similar person. Get your pens in the wood.
27 and 28. Here's the data. Here's the data that just made those pictures. This is left brain. This is right brain. Left brain loves pictures. Right brain loves data. Here's the data. Get your pens. Get your pens. And what I want you to do on those two pages. You're right here. You're good. Right here and right here. You're set. You are set to crush it. These two pages right here. Okay. What I want you to find the spot where the inkjet didn't have to print a lot of it. What I want you to do is circle the one that you think that's comfortable. I better tune this up. This is the first book. Inside and see. It's cornerstone. Ink doesn't really matter. Maybe it's emotional intelligence. Who knows? You get to pick. Pick one where you say, I need to tune this up. Go from 4,000 feet to 4 feet. Let's just hang up a little bit more. This is what we call, you guys are doing great. This is what we call your tune down page. Tune up, sorry, your tune up. This is you tuning up. Your page right here, you're tuning something up. You're just looking at your neighbor saying, I should tune up this, I should tune this up. Okay? Which one did you pick? What are you going to tune up?
Conceptual thinking.
Conceptual thinking. Conceptual thinking. Why? Because I am concept. Which one did you pick? Why did I say that? Why did I say that? Values, dutifulness and values information? Yes. Which one did you pick? Ideas.
Well, that's one I knew about.
I don't get that thought. Everything about me that does not make sense to me.
Okay.
So I don't know how you're starting to it's an outlier on the way. Or if I really do, like, to me, that would be my trust level, and I trust the information and source. I should be able to accept the word. But for this.
Okay, let's read the definition. Is comfortable with uncertainty or ambiguity, may not actively work to make situations secure or certain, can function without a clear or obvious future. What's crazy for me is I own my own business and I'm at 96% on accepts ambiguity, and I have to know what. My wife's always like, what are we going to be doing in the next 5 years? I don't know. I don't know the next 5 year plan. I know the next 3 month plan, but I don't know the next 5. It drives her crazy. Crazy. She's high on certainty. What's in the bank account? I don't know. I don't know. And if there's not $7 billion in the bank account, we're broke. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about it. Look at this right here, gang. Look at this. Look at this right here. This page here lets you see your blind spots. It literally gives you all 40 aspects, and it lets you see those blind spots that could be causing some blind behaviors. Maybe we don't even know this is true. Maybe we start to ask people, hey, is this true? Is this true? Take a look at this right here. What's the opposite of a tune up page? A tune down page. This is called our derailers. Derailers is when you overdo a quality. Pages 30 and 31. Pages 30 and 31. Look what I want you to do. On pages 30 and 31, if there's a box, around it, pay attention to it. You don't have to pay attention to these. I boxed them for you. Look what happens. Look what happens. Just hear me out. Hear me out. Look at this. You're going to notice this right here. Low comfort with authority under stress or self-protection can turn into being neglectful of the power that one has. So sometimes you're so self-conscious that when you get stressed, you start to be able to have all kinds of problems in your own head. You get up in your own head. Sometimes people can be so full of solitudeness that they look like what? They're retreating. They're not meaning that. They're just stressed and they're high in solitudeness. Here's the biggest one that my family all agreed Dad has to tune down. And it is, what page is that, 31? Marcel thinks, I think I'm being assertive. I'm coming across as aggressive. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants as a dad, as a son, as a brother. Nobody says, I'd like to be more aggressive. Nobody does that. Here's another one. I value ambition so much, I crave success. I'll say yes to anything. I'll do that. Let's do that. Let's do that. And I have to say, no, that's not good. So here's what I want you to do. Get your pen. Get your pen. These are your tune down pages. Think of one that might be hurting you on the dais. Think of something that might be hurting you when you are doing this and how it affects other people on the dais. What's something that you say to yourself, I need to tune this down. I maybe need to not do this as often. These are called the labels. Big in the box. You might want to Yes. I overdo for Marcel. Gang, look at this page right here. What pulls you out of your derailers is this. It's called your strengths. Page 25. Take a look. It literally gives you your top 5 strengths. And they're in order. So, yep, page 25. There we go. Okay. You guys want to see something funny? Because we have a minute. Go to page. Somebody find me. These are your top 5. Somebody find me your least access. Where are the least? Page 30. Look at page 30. 29. Look at your most and look at your least. So no human, there's your least. No human. Does anybody have forgiveness? Have forgiveness. No. Forgiveness is one of the behaviors of the least. So, gang, start thinking about these. Yeah. What did we learn? What did we learn about our neighbors? What's kind of the plan moving forward? So if you think about this right here, your tune-up page, remember that one that you said, hey, I'm going to tune this one up? Mine is trust. The one I'm going to tune down is being aggressive. So to the person, you now know what's going on. You know, you're aware. It's not like you're like, well, I think I'm doing a pretty good job. If you want to, I would read these 3 questions before I came to every council meeting. The second I walk into the council meeting, question number 1, am I assuming that every person on the council is what, gang? Has the best what? Intentions. Just like a canine dog can sniff fear, people can sniff intentions. Number 2, and this is the biggest one for this council in Coppell. Am I allowing my truth and their truth, but here's the big deal, to exist equally? You have your lived truth. The truth is, it's Saturday, it's almost noon, and it's 67 degrees or 97 degrees outside, whatever it is. You're going to experience it differently than me. That's your lived truth, and that's my lived truth. I was raised Catholic. My sister is super Catholic. Her Catholic experience and my Catholic experience are 2 totally different experiences. And they both get to what? Exist equally when we have dinner. Can we do that? Can we allow other people's truths to exist? And then last but not least, here's a big one, gang. A lot of people like to control other things that they can't what? Control. And it gets them triggered and it gets them disrupted and it pulls them off sides. And then all of a sudden we're in this closed mindset, this very, very self-protect mindset of which we don't make good decisions or solve good problems or build good relationships. So get your phones out. Get your phones out. Take a picture. Get your phones out and take a picture. Here's your homework right here. I'll send you the whole PowerPoint if you want, but yeah, you got that. Then don't take a picture of it. Put your phone away. Okay? Here's another thing to be thinking about. No one today got told what to do. Because it's always underground. That's what we're focused on. It's what's underground. That's what grows what's above the ground. So what we're looking for, every council member, is to be able to say, yes, I've got that connect mindset. I'm going to be able to stay in the dialogue. Number 2, if I say no to one of those 3, I'm probably not in the right mindset. I'm in the being that self-protect mindset. And then number 3, what can only you do to get to that yes mindset, that connect mindset? That's where you start leveraging your strengths. And so if you want to, we can meet after this and we can go in detail into your assessment. We can talk about, hey, wait a minute. I thought I was okay with ambiguity. I thought I did do okay in this way. And we'll make some connections more individually. Memorize, leverage your strengths, begin to think through what you can only bring to your team. This team right here, into the right mindset. And it's the number 1 predictor of how every council meeting will go. Mindset, everybody's self-concepts, and everybody's psychological values. Those are the 3 things that'll push the team together or pull the team apart. Everybody in the room? You have your behavior, which is driven by your attitude, which is driven by your perception, which is driven by your awareness. We have now all been aware of many things about our own personality. But guess what? When other people bump into us, the first thing they notice is what? Our behavior. Is that true? Which is driving this, which is driving this, which is driving this. And guess what? Then other council members notice our behavior. And it's driven by what? This awareness, this awareness, this awareness. So you could put Wes here, you could put Mike there, you could put Mike here and Wes. You could put the council members here and you could put staff here. It doesn't matter. When I go home, my behavior is going to dictate somebody in the home's what? Awareness. Good attitude, bad attitude, mad, angry, good. Which drives this? Which drives this? And it's all based on how we treat and regard. So the whole goal today was not to tell you about you. It was to tell you how you might affect other people on the council. That's what it's about, right? We don't operate in a vacuum. We operate as a team. And what I'm doing might affect other people. Every human is like every other human, like some other humans, like no other humans. And that's what we experienced this morning, gang. So when it comes to us moving forward, be mindful. If you want to talk about some things, we can talk about some things. You want to go deeper in your assessment? We can absolutely go deeper in your assessment. My goal today was to make sure everybody's aware of what we're like individually. But going back to behavior versus style, individual versus working collective as a team. And so when you think of the things that we talked about around longevity and competency, about the unaware leader being the most dangerous, that's what I wanted to focus on. And so, anything else before we close it down? Yeah, I think we're good. Well, right now it's quarter till noon. That's what I wanted to accomplish. Okay. If there's questions to be had, if there's conversations to be had, we can have those. But gang, thank you. Thanks for allowing me to be part of the development of the council. And man, we reserve the right to be smarter in a couple of weeks once we start to discern and kind of better not who we are, but what we are. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Marcel. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
From a council standpoint, you are perfectly free to reach out to Marcel, to ask questions, to ask him to sit down and to go over issues, problems, or that comes out to not stop it. Simply these things that sound good. Not necessarily
And remember, gang, this isn't for everybody. I mean, emotional intelligence isn't for everybody. It's not. Emotional intelligence is not for those who need it. It's for those who want it. And so if you want to have a deeper conversation, then absolutely we can. We can never say that's for everybody. It's not. It's for those who want it. So absolutely.
From a council standpoint, we have
Sorry. I need Don sitting over here. So from a council standpoint, we have our Tuesday regularly scheduled meeting Tuesday night. And I believe that's the last meeting for this coming week. We then start back into budget meetings the following week. And I appreciate everyone coming. This has been very educational and what did Bijou call it? A good refresher. And today's session with Marcel has been enlightening as usual. There are box lunches over here on the wall. You're welcome to stay and eat here or take them with you. And I believe Mike has a final little presentation. And other than that, with no further business to come before this body, we are adjourned.